With the rolling flames. I'm Woodrow, your head cook, and today we're going to be showing you how we work our grills around here, soon to be some of the greatest pit masters in the area. We're going to start and see I have two grills. I have my barrel grill and I have my other grill. I'm going to use one to smoke and one to cook. This is going to be my smoker, this is going to be my cooker. Stay tuned, we're going to show you how we're going to put ribs on, chicken, sausage, hamburgers, baked beans, also homemade burgers. We start off with 5 pounds of ground chuck. Once you get your ground chuck in, you add your ingredients. First, we're going to start with a half of an onion. Take your onion, split it in half, and you dice it. Once you get your onion diced, you add it to your mix. From there you go to a tablespoon of garlic powder, eighth of a teaspoon of cumin. Use a tablespoon to be just the tip of your tablespoon. That'll be all your cumin you need. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of seasoned salt. And you're going to need 2 tablespoons of lemon pepper. And once you get all those ingredients in, I use blue cheese or I use feta cheese crumble. This time I'm going with the blue cheese crumble. It's a little more of a pungent taste. It has a stronger flavor than the feta. But that's what we're going to use this time. But you use this very sparingly. Very, very, very strong. So what you do is take you about a teaspoon or so, maybe a tablespoon. Use a 5 pounds of ground chuck. And you rake it over in. And once you get all your ingredients in, forget about your panko and your eggs. Panko are your breadcrumbs, which you need to soak up some of the moisture in your burgers. Once you add your panko and your eggs, you're good to go. If I can find my panko, but I can't find it at the moment, it'll turn up in just a second. Use about a half a cup of panko. You add that to your mix. And you add your 1 egg. Once you get everything in, take your hands and you mix all your meat. Well, I use my hands. You can use a mixer, spoon, fork, whatever you choose to use. To me, the best way to work it is your hands. The size which you prefer. See, I have some already pre-made here, already padded out for you. I'm going to pat these last 2 out so you can see the size and the process it goes. So you get your ball in your hand and you work them and you pat them till it's as flat as you possibly can. And once again, this is ground chuck. Ground chuck doesn't shrink up as bad as ground beef, so therefore your patties will be pretty much the size that you make them. Once you get everything done and you get your patties patted out, you put them on your pan, you cover them, and you get them in the refrigerator. You let them sit overnight if you choose. You can let them sit as long as you choose to. Once you get everything patted, you cover it, and you last. It's going to be all ribs. We have 2 cuts of ribs here. You have your baby back ribs here, and you have your spare ribs here. What you're going to do is go ahead and trim all of your excess fat off and leave your membrane on. Well, I personally leave my membrane on because it seals in the flavor. And some ribs have an extra flap here which you can cut off. I don't know the name of that piece of meat, but you can cut it off. It's actually an extra piece of meat. So what you would do is turn your ribs over, and I use a dry rub. Can't give you my special ingredients, but I can give you the basis of my ingredients. Basically, garlic powder, onion powder, lemon pepper, and seasoning salt. There's a couple more things that I add to it to give it my signature touch. But you can try anything that you would choose. But what you would do is take your dry rub mixture, sprinkle it onto your ribs, the whole rib. You want to make sure every piece of your meat is covered, both front and back sides. Once you get all your meat covered, on one side you flip it, and you coat your other side. Once you get it coated, you take it and place it in your pan, whatever you're going to hold it in. Same thing goes for your baby back. You're going to go through the same process. These are smaller ribs and more of a tender rib. And it doesn't take them quite as long to cook. But the same process goes. You just spread your dry rub all over them until it's coated real good. And this is what they should look like once they've been good and coated. You should see only your herbs and your spices on top of your meat. You shouldn't see much meat there, just mainly be your herbs and your spices. Get this into your pan and you get this into the refrigerator as well. Now I let my ribs and my butt marinate for about 12 to 14 hours, maybe a little longer depending on how long I have before I cook them. These are going to be in the oven for about, the refrigerator for about 16 hours. And they're going to go on the grill and we're going to smoke them low. We're going to smoke them probably 2.5, 3, maybe 4 hours. All depends on how long it takes for them to get tender. What I determine tender is when you pick your rib up and you can pull the bone out without a knife, that is a good rib. Smoke them and you let them bone side down. My steaks I do pretty much very simple. I use olive oil to coat them. Then I take my lemon pepper and I sprinkle it on. Everyone can't use lemon pepper. Some people are allergic to it. Some people just don't like the way that it tastes. I prefer it, so I use it. Then I have a garlic and sea salt grinder that I picked up at the local supermarket, and this is what I use for my garlic and salt flavor. Now this is a little time consuming, and it's a little bit of a workout, but you have to do it, and do it very good if you want your flavor in your meat. What you have to do is coat both sides of your steak with your seasoning. Forgot one key ingredient, which would be my cilantro. See, I have this side done. Now I flip it over and get ready to coat the other side of it. Same process. Both sides been coated with olive oil. Use your cilantro, your lemon pepper, and your garlic sea salt. Now that we have both sides of our steak seasoned, we're going to wrap this also and get it in the refrigerator. It's going to marinate for about 12 to 14 hours also. This is going on a hot grill. This will cook about 5-6 minutes on each side, and it'll be a pretty good juicy steak. It should be very tender also. But we're going to do is add our chicken in. First, you need to make sure that your chicken is clean, free of feathers and fat. Seeing as I'm using wings, the only thing I really have to worry about are the loose feathers that's left on the bird. So when I got all that clean, so I just take my wings and drop them into the brine. What you want to do is make sure that all of your wings are covered in this brine before you get in the refrigerator. So I usually let mine soak 12 to 16 hours as I do most of my things that I do. It adds moisture to your meat, and it also adds a little flavor. with the spices and the herbs that you use making the brine, it also incorporates into your meat as it's grilling. Now the outside you still have that crispy skin on, but the inside when you bite into it, it's just going to be so juicy. Most of the time people cook chicken on the grill, it's kind of dry and rubbery. This chicken here is going to just fall apart. And once you get your chicken in, you make sure it's all submerged into your brine. Put your lid onto your pot or bowl, whatever you're submerging it in, and you get it into the refrigerator also. Once again, this is going to soak for about 12 about earlier in your brine is a minced garlic. You have to use about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic into your brine, which adds that garlic flavor to it. Once you get everything in and incorporated, that's when you put it in the refrigerator. Cold in here. You're going to sprinkle the body fluid and then sit for a while, mind it sit for a few minutes. Then you just go ahead and fire it up. Don't even have a fire gun or whatever you call it. I just do it over there, so I get a piece of paper and line it to the start. One. Grill here is going to only have coals on it. Only going to use coal on this one. This one here is going to be my smoke. I'm going to start this off with coals. Let the coals get good and hot. Actually, they're going to turn white like ash. Once the coal gets good and hot, I'm going to add my wood chips. Here I have 200 wood chips that I got ready to put on the grill, but this will be after everything is good and hot. It's also an adjustable rack. Once it gets hot, I'm going to drop it all the way down to the chips on, and this is why this is going to be my smoke. It's going to slowly cook the meat over here. Coals are ready. We're going to open the grill to see if they're white. The fire's gone, these coals are white on top, so that means everything's pretty hot in here. So what we're going to do is close this one back down and get the temperature up the bar. Right now we're sitting at about 170. And over here the smoker is ready, it's at 350. Still got a little flame going here, but once I add the wood chips and spread the coals out and let it start doing this thing, it'll calm down in temperature and the smoker will be ready. So what we're going to do is take our rack remover. I wear gloves, you don't have to use your rack remover, just try not to burn myself. It's probably the best thing for everybody. Take the rack remover so it's on the top. And as I told you before, this has an adjustable rack in the bottom of it, so I just lit it up. Get my wood chips out. Sprinkle those on the fire. On top of the coal. Spread everything out on here, let the wood get up in there and let it smoke and get right. About maybe 10-15 minutes of smoke and everything will be ready and you can get your meat on. What I'm going to put on here will be my ribs, my sausages, and that's about it. My burgers and my chicken's gonna go on this one once it get up to temperature. So now you see this is good and hot. All your coals are pretty much white in here. Got the wood mixed in there, so we get a good burn on it. And that'll create that smoky taste. But I also do my baked beans over here on this one. I mean, I use a canned baked bean, Bush's baked bean, what I prefer. And I'll use those and I add my own ingredients. And I let it smoke on the grill also. So what we do now is put the rack back on. Let my rack back down here. See if we can get a constant temperature about 250, 275, and then I'll put my ribs on the direct to the bottom so they'll just up to about 190 right now. I still got a few minutes on it. I like to get this one to at least 250 and just let it smoke as it's doing now. It also cooks because I can't adjust the rack, so it is what it is with this one. The heat and everything captured right in here. If I'm gonna indirect indirectly heat something, I'm gonna break all my coals over and sit it on the opposite side, which is what I do for most of my tenderloins, pork chops, things of that nature. Now my steaks is gonna be a little different once my ribs get through smoking and I get all my chicken done. I'm gonna rake all my coals back together and get those hot in the middle, get my rack hot here. And then I'm gonna lay my steaks on, let those smoke for a little while, flip them over, and you know, you'll see the finished product of that in the end. That's gonna be very. It's holding pretty much consistently at 250, 260. It's been doing that about 10, 15, 20 minutes now. So now I know it's ready to go ahead and get my ribs on. So I'm gonna do is let it up. Y'all be careful because the smoke is dangerous. It will get you and it will cause you to gain. So now I'm gonna add my baby back ribs on. Add one slab of those, and you'll see them earlier when I rub them down. You see the rub on them, how they look now. After they've been in the refrigerator for about 16 hours. Here's my spare ribs. Now I have all my ribs, so I'm just gonna let this smoke. It's probably gonna cook about 4 to 6 hours. I'll probably come out here 1 or 2 times, maybe once to turn them. But every now and then I'll come out and check my flame, make sure nothing's burning up. And that's pretty much all you're gonna do to these. They're just gonna smoke the whole time. That's why you add the wood chips and coal. It's gonna give you this smoky flavor. And you'll see the end product, you're gonna see a smoke ring. It's gonna be around the char. It's gonna be a little pink on the inside. Actually, I had somebody tell me my meat was raw one time, so I know they knew nothing about eating real barbecue. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and let these smoke, close the lid down before my fire starts back up. Then we're gonna start on the other grill, and we're gonna get chicken on that one and your hamburgers. After my ribs cook about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, we'll go ahead and smoke that. I'm at about 250 for the last 45 minutes to an hour, so we're pretty good on it. There's no need to check it because these ribs are cooked by themselves. You just have to leave them on. Now, our grill over here, we got the temperature up to about 280, 290 right now until we get all our meat on. Once we get everything on and get everything filled up, I close the chimney. I close the vents over here also. So that's kind of dropping the temperature. Now this is the chicken that we brined yesterday. And I strained all the excess water and herbs out of it, spices. Let's see, I have a few chunks of onion in here because I didn't dice them very small. Besides, they won't go through a colander anyway. So what you're gonna do is go ahead and take your chicken and get it on. Really doesn't matter which way you put it. Just want to get everything on here so it can start to cook. After it cooks for a while, I have my special blend that I bring out and sprinkle on it so that it cooks it has a nice flavor to it as it cooks. So right now we're just gonna put them on and let them cook. And these probably take about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how hot your grill is. Me personally, I try to slow cook most of my products, so it's gonna take a while for mine to cook. While these are on, I'm also going to go ahead and get my sausages, get those on the smoker, let those smoke for a while. I'm trying to make sure you get all the excess herbs and basically herbs that are stuck on top. The leaves really won't go through a colander so much as you use them. Brown leaves and such. Really just trying to get all your meat on right over that heat area on this chicken. Chicken's very dangerous, so you have to cook it very well. Got a little fire going at the bottom. That's only because I got this top open and the air is getting to it. I can't breathe without oxygen, and at the top is plenty of oxygen going in here. Get this top down, and we're gonna go and try to get our burgers together and our sauce. It's pretty steady for a while now, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and add my sausages to it. I add my sausages to the smoker so they can slowly cook, and they have a nice little plump juiciness to them as you bite into them. So I get all those on, I'm gonna go ahead and move over to my cook over here. I'm gonna add my burgers. This burger we made yesterday, they've been marinating for about 16 hours also. So what we're gonna do is pull your foil back, go ahead and get the burgers off. You don't want to put them on the same rack as the chickens. Try to keep those separate as possible. Like I said, on the mixture process, this is ground chuck, so what you see is pretty much what you're going to get when these burgers are done cooking. It's going to be about that size, maybe about 20% smaller. It's not going to be a huge difference in them. They're going to be so good. That panko soaks up the fat, the moisture inside the burger with holes, and it makes it so good. And the herbs and spices that we, actually I just use spices on this. I don't think I use any herbs in these burgers. As you can see, I got my grill full, so I still have to come back a little later after everything kind of cooks down and add the rest of my burgers. I have 4 more left. Once again, you get everything closed down. We're going to take a quick look at our chicken to make sure our other side isn't cooking too fast. Nah, that's just perfect right there. Been on about 30 minutes, and this is what we're looking like, so we're doing pretty good. Actually, maybe more 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, we're doing pretty good here, so we're going to close everything down, and we'll be back in about 30, 45 minutes. About 45 minutes to an hour, so we're going to go ahead and pull those off. They're done. We're going to just let those rest. Got the fire going. Once again, got the top open, so oxygen piece, fire, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get the flame. The best thing for you to do is go ahead and get your meat on off. Go ahead and close your grill down. And once you close your grill down, you're smothering the fire, suffocating the fire. And that's pretty much it. You see we got our chicken turned, and we're moving it now. It has a nice char on the outside. It's not burned through. Most people think that's called burn, but that's actually a char. And once you see how moist it is, you can actually look at the chicken itself now and see it's still plump and juicy. So we're going to get this off to direct heat. Get it off to the side so we can finish cooking very, very slowly. And our ribs have been on maybe about 2.5 hours now, give or take. And we're going to check on those. As soon as I get all my chicken turned, once I get this turned about 30, 45 more minutes on this chicken, we're going to go ahead and come out with that special blend and season them. And once we put that season on, we won't touch them again till it's time to pull them off the grill. We're going to season them well. Actually, I take that back. We're going to season one side, let it cook for a while, flip them and season the other side so there'll be flavor on both sides. See, we still have a small fire, and I still have a couple burgers not quite done. I'm going to close this lid back down on this. And we're going to check on our smoke over here with our ribs in it. It's holding pretty steady at 225, 230. And you can see now that the meat's starting to brown on both sides. And these baby backs, like I said, they cook so much faster than spare ribs. I got a couple extra hot dogs on here and a hamburger that's on here. And this is basically what you're gonna get. And they're not ready until, like I said earlier, when you pick them up and you can be able to pull the bones out, that's when your ribs are done. Next time we come back, we should be putting these ribs off, the sausages. I threw a hot dog or two on here and the burgers, the other 3 burgers. The chicken is pretty much done. Still need about another hour, hour and a half, and I'm still slow cooking on 250 on the smoker. So what I did was brought the chicken over from the cook and put it on the smoker. You see it has a nice char on the outside. Still gonna be juicy on the inside. Now that it's over here smoking, I want to take my special rub and I'm just gonna sprinkle it on top. I'm gonna smoke it on this side for about a good 30-35 minutes with the rub on top of it. And once that's done, I'm gonna flip it over and season the other side of it. Now my ribs, I moved them on off the heat. That's indirect heat. So they're still cooking, and see how they're falling over. I mean, it's pretty much done. Not quite the way I like it. I really want to take one of the bones and be able to pull it out. But that'll come with a little more smoking. I'll say another hour, hour and a half of that at 250. See, this was the same way. See, it also has a char on the outside of it. People think that it's burned, but actually it's a rub that's kind of cooked onto the meat. And what I do once they're done, I stack them on top of each other or lay them on the top rack, wherever I can get them. And I just let them slow smoke the rest of the day. And these are the baby backs. It's the same thing with those. See the darkness on those is rub that's cooked into them. Same thing on the back side. I always cook them bone side down and just let them do what they do. So what we're gonna do, I still have my sausages over here. They're not done either, so well, they may be. I'm not gonna say that because I've eaten one. So yeah, they're done. And we're gonna let those smoke some more till they get plump and just bust open. Now we have friends over today, 4th of July, and everybody's cooking, and he brought his special seasoning rubs for his meat. He used a wet marinade. These are his short ribs he's using, and his wet rub looks completely different from mine. It has a char on it also, but it's not quite as dark as mine, and it's just not the same as mine. Sure, it has plenty of flavor and seasoning on it. He's a cook also. So I'm thinking, I'm actually curious to taste and see how he is tasting too. When you come back, all the ribs will be off the grill. We'll show you what a good rib looks like, what a good rib tastes like. I also have to put my steaks on. So as soon as my chicken is done, I'm gonna rake my coals to the center, get a good hot flame, and then we're gonna put the steaks on and let those cook. We got about chicken off the grill. We have the ribs really just sitting there, slow smoking, and now we're gonna put these ribeyes on. Marinate these ribeyes about 16 hours ago also. They've been in the refrigerator overnight, half of the day. So we're gonna get them on the grills good and hot here. Just lay them on. So you cook them about 5 minutes on each side, depending on which way you like your ribs. Some people like them well done. If you like them well done, you cook them about 8 to 10 minutes on each side. And give it about 20 minutes, we'll pull these things off and you'll see how good they look. And ready. The steaks ready. We got them on a plate so you can see that they're done. See, this burger here is just same size it was as I put it on. So like I said earlier, ground chuck doesn't melt as fast it doesn't shrink as much as ground beef. See chunks of cheese in there slightly, and it's seasoned very well. Here's a bigger burger. And it's done as well. It's done through and through. Now steaks, let those cook. Like I said, once again, it's a preference to how you like your steak. See, I just cut right through that steak there. Mine's a little rare. That's the way I like to eat mine. Juices are still in there and it's nice steak. Still see your seasoning and your marinade on top. I'm smoking about 6 hours. Well, the ribs have the chicken for about 1.5 hours. 2 hours. So here's the way it goes. You pull them off and check. You can look into this rib here. You see your smoke ring here, which makes your pink right there, and your meat's done through there. Like I said, you should be able to pull your bone out, but we're gonna slice these ribs, nice slice right through them. They're gonna fall right apart, no problem. Then we get to our chicken over here. I told you once you have that crispy outside, a little char on it with your marinade, and once you cut it open, it's still juicy. See, it falls right apart too. That's what a brine does to your chicken. So it has the crispy outside, but your meat stays juicy on the inside. Now for my ribs, chicken, I usually do a barbecue sauce. We have two different kinds. We have a mustard base and a ketchup base. For the ketchup base, I'm gonna have to bring in one of the children because I gave them the recipe and they made it their own and they do it how they do it. And I'll do the mustard base next time we come.